As founder of the American Birth Control League, which later became Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger was no doubt a controversial figure with disturbing views on eugenics, race, and population control. While some argue she even wanted to exterminate the black race, others are trying to erase that part of her past.
The Mike Wallace Interview.
In the eyes of some, Margaret Sanger has been a heroine. In the eyes of others, she's been a destructive force.
In her own words, Sanger pushed for a society that limited births to those she deemed fit to have children.
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born.
In 1916, Sanger opened the country's first birth control clinic. As a member of the American Eugenics Society, she advocated improving the genetic composition of humans through controlled reproduction of different races and classes. She often wrote about the issue in the journal she founded, called the Birth Control Review. In 1919, writing,
I personally believe in the sterilization of the feeble-minded, the insane, and the syphilitic. The most urgent problem today is how to limit and discourage the over-fertility of the mentally and physically defective.
Many point to a 1923 New York Times interview as proof of Sanger's racist motives, in which she referred to people as weeds, saying,
It means the release and cultivation of the better racial elements in our society, and the gradual suppression, elimination, and eventual extirpation of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization.
Hayden Ludwig, an investigative researcher, has extensively studied Sanger's life and writings.
She talked about the need for race betterment through controlling these weeds, basically undesirable people.
In 1939, after opening another clinic in Harlem, the birth control activist launched the Negro Project, an initiative supported by black leaders, such as civil rights activist W.E.B. Du Bois. Critics claim the program used the pretense of better health and family planning for poor blacks in the South as an attempt to limit the black race. Ludwig says some on the left grapple with Sanger's past and how to interpret her legacy.
They know when she writes about human weeds, they know that it's repulsive. They know it's disgusting. The left will never abandon Margaret Sanger because if they do, she's the foundation of so many of their views.
Sanger once shared her vision for a preferred race at a women's branch of the Ku Klux Klan, writing in her autobiography,
Always, to me, any aroused group was a good group.
Despite those views, liberals praise Sanger's work while ignoring her history.
I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tenacity, her vision. I am really in awe of her.
Ryan Baumberger.
So, Shalom. First off, I want to start up by saying all praises, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash. It's all praises to the one-cause God who's treated the Hebrews Yahweh, by Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahushai being the name of the only begotten Son. Also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, preaching this word in truth and sincerity. On the brother talks about in Great Millstone, Arizona camp, well, with another video to edify. What you just saw was a little short, documentary on this demon, Margaret Sanger, the true proponent for Planned Parenthood. And this bitch was a Satanist, a Edomite devil, right? And you people, you women, lift up that whole Planned Parenthood, my body, my choice. You don't even really know what it goes back to, especially the so-called nigger woman, right? And the scriptures tell you, just because you could sit here and act like, oh, the times have changed, the scriptures tell you, let me get this. This is, This is Ecclesiastes 1 and 15. It says, that which is crooked cannot be made straight. That which is wanting cannot be numbered. Right? And in the NLT, it says, what is wrong cannot be made right, and what is missing cannot be recovered. And obviously, that whole Planned Parenthood, the way it started off was eugenics. So you're not going to sit here and make it into this positive thing that you people try to make it into. Right? It was all designed for the crippling and the extermination of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Those are those weeds that bitch talked about. Right? If you got a problem with my language, don't watch my video. Right? This should bring in some type of negative emotion that gets you mad, that irks you. Right? And if you don't have that spirit, the scriptures tell you, surely oppression maketh the wise man bad. So if you don't have that spirit to feel some type of negative way after hearing this and knowing the real truth of this damn devil and how they got down, then hey, I don't need you to listen to the video in the first place. But ultimately now with this whole reversing of that Roe versus Wade, it's been coming out. Let me find this video.
And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book, The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute. And he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, the main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you almost exactly what he says. He says there are three things we can do to solve this. Number one, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again, he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth.
And that's why. That right there.
And what she stood
is why, that right there is why they turned over that Roe v. Wade. Because this devil digged a ditch with that Planned Parenthood, and he himself has fallen therein. Okay. I got a few precepts, a little bit of information that backs up that, right? So, not only was birth rates low among Edomites, but abortion was high, right? Opioid deaths are extremely high, right? Now, here's something I was able to find, and I put it on Google, Caucasian opioid overdoses, right? And it gives you the entire tally, right? So in Alabama, 400 white Edomite Caucasians, 449, blacks non-Hispanic, 146, Hispanics 10, others not applicable. So this devil counts for almost all the deaths for opioid overdose in Alabama. Same for Alaska, Arizona, 1,003 for Edomites, 129 for Judah, Issachar, 598, and others 127. Hey, this nigga's been offing himself off like no other. California, 2,883 so-called black people, 562, so-called Hispanics, 1,716. Others 244. This devil is offing himself off quick, boy. Quick. So not only is it low birth rates, not only is it the committing of abortion, not only is it the fact that a lot of them don't even want kids, right? These devils' birth rates are low, so it stands to reason that he had to get rid of this thing in order for him to sit here and stay somewhat relevant. And so this is what we're looking at. This devil digged a ditch, right? His plan was to sit here and reduce the number and eradicate the so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American. Now he's fallen into it, right? This is Psalm 7. And 14. I'm going to keep up the parallel because that might be good. It says, behold, he travailed with iniquity and had conceived mischief. It says, and brought forth falsehood. And the NLT actually kind of hit. It says he made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. And that's what you're seeing. This devil's falling into the ditch. His whole mindset of we're gonna sit here and get rid of these niggas, the undesirables, the weeds. Right? When you go to the NLT, it says the wicked conceive evil. Fuck you. They are pregnant with trouble and give birth to lies. They dig a deep pit to trap others, then fall into it themselves. And that's what's happening. That's what's happened. So now he's trying to sit here and mitigate his losses. Right? Psalms 57. In 6. It says, they have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me, and into the midst whereof they are fallen themselves. Right? It says, my enemies have set a trap for me. Right? In the NLT, I am weary from my distress. They have dug a deep pit in my path, but they themselves are fallen into it. You see, this is what this devil's done. He's digged a deep ditch because, he sat there, put it on his media, sat here and made it hard for you to even live. So he basically gave these Jake females every incentive to sit here and destroy the family and destroy their offspring. But what? It came around, and now his people, his women are committing abortions far higher than he can sustain. He's fallen into that pit, and it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop, even though they did this whole Roe v. Wade. These bitches will fucking travel from state to state to get this shit done. Right? This is Proverbs 26. This is Proverb 26 and 27. And it says, I'll start at 26. It says, who hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him. And this is the NLT. It says, verse 26. It says, while their hatred may be concealed by trickery, right? And they try to say Planned Parenthood, trying to make sure that you have a family planned. Right? That hatred was disguised by trickery. Their wrongdoing will be exposed in the public, and you see that wrongdoing is being exposed. People are gonna catch on to this information, man. If you set a trap for others, you will get caught in it yourself. If you roll a boulder down on others, it will crush you instead. You see? So this is what the Lord has been doing. He's crushing this devil with his own plans. What he prepared for the Israelites, he himself is getting caught up in it. This is Sirach 27. Sirach 27. And 26. Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that setteth a trap shall be taken therein. Right, so this devil set it a trap, he digged the pit, and he's in it. He's in it, man. He's in it. And this goes right back to Ammon, right? This goes right back to Ammon. I'm going to get that account. This is Ezra and Apocrypha 13. Addition to Esther, 13 and 5. Okay, it says, seeing, and this is what Ammon did. It says, seeing then we understand that this people, and this is his counsel to Xerxes, right? Artaxerxes, I believe it is. It says, seeing then we understand that this people, talking about the Israelites, alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws, right? And evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. And he tried to lie, act like Jake was the issue. And this is what Esau does, right? It says, therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing, unto you by Ammon, right? The Edomite, the Macedonian, it says, who is ordained over the affairs, and is next unto us, shall all with their wives and children be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month of Adar, this present year. So his mindset was what? To kill all Jake. He wanted to eradicate him. And what did he do? He did it through the sword now, through that planned parenthood. But now it's coming on his own head. Now, peep this. Keep going into the additions to Esther, the 16th chapter. And it returned back on him, 17 verses says, wherefore you shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent unto you by Ammon the son of Amadatha, right? So the decree got flipped. For he that was the worker of these things, talk about Ammon, hanged at the gates of Susa with all his family. The Most High, who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts. So he got judged. He thought to hang and kill all Jake. And what? The Lord turned that judgment right back on him. And that's what you're seeing. The judgment's been turned right back on you devils, man. Verse 23. Just jump to the point. It says, I'll start at 22. It says, ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts keep it an high holy day with all feasting. It says that both now and hereafter there may be a safety to us and all that affect and well affect. There may be safety to us and the well affected the Persians, but to those that do conspire against us, A memorial of destruction. And that's what's happening. You devils are getting a memorial of destruction. Right? You're falling everywhere, man. You're a fucking mess. Shalom.